most of us would love to be millionaires. And being a millionaire now is not what it used to be. It doesn't mean yachts and mansions, caviar every day, and fine champagne. You can get you can live a nice lifestyle with $1 million put away, don't get me wrong. But, back in the 1960s, $1 million today is like $6 million then. I mean, it's just a different, due to inflation, the dollar's lost value, and $1 million lost value dollars isn't the same. And it may turn out that $1 million buys you nothing because it's worthless if we keep going on the path that we are. But anyway, it's easier and easier to achieve the goal of being a millionaire these days. According to data from 2020, 6.71% of U.S. households, or 8,386,000, have investable assets of $1 million or more. Investable assets means outside of your home, the money that you have would be $1 million. Now, you could also say I'm a millionaire if I have $1 million net worth. I add up everything I own, all my savings, investments, my house, everything, and take away all my debts. And if that net worth is over $1 million, I'm a millionaire. Okay, but now more than ever, there's more millionaires now than there was before the financial crisis in 2008, 2009. And I tell people in my conference room, I say, you're a millionaire. And, usually it's because they have retirement plans and they 401ks and all that. And when you add that money up and the value of their home and everything, they have over $1 million in assets. But it's really hard to get through their heads that they're millionaires, because when they were growing up years ago, a millionaire meant something. It meant that you were very, very rich. But still, only 6.7% of households in the United States, could say that they have $1 million in investable assets. And but most of these people, they did not inherit this money. Some did, but most millionaires are made. They're not born. And there's a book out called The Millionaire Next Door. It's been out for, 25 years maybe. As a matter of fact, the author of this book, Thomas Stanley, right? The Millionaire Next Door, by the way, is just a book that says that the average millionaire is not who you think. It could be your next door neighbor who's driving that 10-year-old car, that has a modest house, has a small business. You always think of millionaires as these people living in these mansions and, they're very wealthy. But no, a millionaire is usually self-made. Now, Tom Stanley, I interviewed. He was one of the first interviews I've ever done in radio. I was on WTTM in Trenton, the first radio show I ever had back in the mid-90s. And I was horrible, by the way. I was terrible. Not that I'm much better now, but yes, I'm much better now. I'll tell you that. But I was horrible. I couldn't, prior to starting on the radio, I couldn't go into a room with 5 people and do a little speech without getting terribly nervous. Oh God. First of all, I had hardly any phone callers. So I had to get guests every week because I couldn't carry an hour by myself. I was a rookie. I didn't know what I was getting into. I was a guest on WTTN. That's how I got into radio. I was a guest. I don't even know who the person was, but they knew me personally. And they said, hey, why don't you come on my radio show? I have this show. So I went on this show, and I was panicked. I almost couldn't get out of my car to go into the studio, right? But once the microphone went on, I was able to get through the interview. The program director thought I did a great job, and he asked me if I wanted my own show. It happened that quick. And I said, no, yes, no, yes, no. So I said, yeah, let's do this, right? And my first show, I wish I still had the tape because I'm sure I was dreadful. But I had to get a guest every week because I couldn't catch an hour. And that's the reason I had to shut it down, because I had to produce a show. I had to find a guest every week, a topic. I had to drive to Trenton on a Tuesday for a noon show. It ruined my whole day. It was far enough away from my office that didn't get me business. So I wound up dropping it, but that's after 2 years. So I cut my teeth there until I had the opportunity in my number one love in radio, which was WOBM, which I grew up with, and I had the opportunity to come here, and the rest is history. But he was the first interview I think I had was Tom Stanley. We talked about the Millionaire Next Door, and many also millionaires don't need to have a graduate degree to become a millionaire, and only 18% of those who have $1 million or more have a graduate degree. Now, having a college degree, I mean, does help. To get a graduate degree, you know, you'll make more. The average graduate person with a graduate degree has a median salary of about $98,000 versus $67,860 for the typical four-year college graduate. So you do make more money, but that doesn't necessarily make you a millionaire, because just because you make more money doesn't mean you don't spend more money, and doesn't mean that you save money and invest money. And by the way, just a high school graduate earns on average $40,600. So obviously there is, or was, maybe I should say was, value in a college degree back in the day. Not so much anymore because of the way these people come out indoctrinated. So to become a millionaire, I'm going to give you the exact recipe. It's very simple. It's a simple calculation. All right, so which saving strategy? Let's assume you have a diversified portfolio over your life, stocks, bonds, the whole thing, and you average 8%. If you start at 20, you save $200 a month. You will have over $1 million at 65. Now you have to understand the power of compounding. Okay, the earlier you start, you're making interest on interest on interest, and it compounds. And most of that money is made in the last few years. Because if you have $900,000 and it earns 8%, that's quite a bit of money. It's like $70-something thousand. It'll put you over, or close to $1 million. When you start, you have very little money. But that's the power of compounding. That's the power of starting. What if you start at 40? You got to quadruple that. If you start at 40, you have to save $800 a month at 8% to get to $1 million. So thanks to the magic of compounding, a 20-year-old who saves $200 a month until retirement would have about $1,055,000 at age 65. And think about it. $200 a month, it's $50 a week. If you work your budget and you live responsibly, you should be able to do that. If you wait till 30, you'd have to put in $400 a month, double the person who starts at 20. What if you wait to 50? A 50-year-old has to contribute $1,500 a month and would only have $519,000 at retirement if they did $1,500 a month, half the $1 million that the other example said. You don't have to be a smart investor. You don't have to be a stock market wizard to make $1 million. 58% of millionaires say they have a great deal to learn about investing, and 19% admit to knowing little or nothing about investing. And the wealthy aren't shy about seeking out financial advice. 2/3 of people with $1 million net worth say they have a financial advisor. So it's not hard to become a millionaire if you're disciplined. And you don't need to have a high-paying job to become a millionaire either. You know, true, 13% of people who are millionaires are managers or in management. 11% work in education. In the Millionaire Next Door book I was referring before, he says 2/3 of millionaires are self-employed, often in everyday professions ranging from pest control to property management. So no matter where you work or how much you make, what's important is that you start saving early and continue to save over your working life. And there's an example here. Take the case of Paul Navoni, who never earned more than $11 an hour as a quality control inspector at a glass plant. Yet the retiree accumulated more than $3 million thanks to his unwavering savings discipline and sound investments. So again, the answer is time. The number one answer is time. The younger you are, the longer time you have to save, the less you have to put away. If you're 45 and have no savings, you need to put away $1,700 each month in order to retire at 65 with $1 million. Again, averaging 8% a year, which isn't the easiest thing these days, but we're talking a course of decades. So the theme here is the longer you wait, the steeper the climb is going to be, or you're just not going to achieve it. I mean, if you haven't started saving, until you're 45, what makes you think you're going to start now? You're going to change the way you live? Probably not. Of course, the New York metro area, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, has the most millionaire households in the United States, followed by Los Angeles, Chicago, Silicon Valley. But you can find millionaires anywhere. And one thing they say about millionaires here, money can't buy happiness. You've heard that before. Can't buy love. It can buy love for a night. It can buy love for a night. But it can't buy long-term love. And those cliches are true. But people with money have a better shot at getting at love, a better shot at being happy. Let's put it this way. If money doesn't make you happy, lack of money will make you sad. Or sadder when you have money problems. The optimal range for being happy is making $65,000 to $95,000. After that, at least as far as happiness is concerned, it doesn't really get better. So, once you make enough to basically pay your bills, I guess, then you're happy as you're going to be.